So I've played Duel Links for a very long time, but how easy is it to get back to the TCG? And with a budget of just £10 per episode? Let's see how easy it really is. Welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! On a Budget. Hey everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! On a Budget. I thought I'd just hop in and just give you kind of some background as to the rules of this a little bit more. So for each episode we have £10 to spend, and that's 10 Great British pounds if you're from across the pond or oceans or whatnot. And we can spend that on either £10 worth of singles if they come under budget, or if it is, for example, a card that is a little bit over £10, then it will have to be the sealed product, which will be able to find them. So as time goes on, we will be looking at buying certain sealed packs. Sometimes we might just buy it for the fun of it, other times it might be just for the chance of getting a card that is extremely powerful, and other times will be singles. So it's kind of the best way of playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, especially if you're coming out of the gate. So without further ado, I'll send you over to Recorded Me as we open up our first set of new Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. So let's get on with what we are playing. We are going to be playing Spellcasters. More specifically, we're playing Pendulum Spellcasters, or Endymion Spellcasters is what their current name is. So that is one Order of the Spellcaster structure deck. This came out in 2019, April 2019, so it's about a year old now, so it's kind of getting hard to get hold of, but I managed to find a great deal on a pack of 3 for around £18, and I found a pack of KMC, I believe these are the KMC mats in red for £2 on top. So it brings us to our 20. So this is where we're going to start. What I will do is I will crack open one of these bad boys, so we know exactly what we're dealing with. And go from there. Now you might be asking yourself, well, why pick up 3 of any set? And the reason is, whenever you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, a playset or a maximum amount of cards you can have in your deck is 3. So what you want to really do is have 3 of every card you play. So the best way of doing that is having a structure deck where we can have 3 of each one. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at our little mat as well. Just the mat that comes with it, which is quite nice actually. I'm unsure if we're going to pick up a mat. It's one of those ones of, as time goes on, realistically a player, when you're starting Yu-Gi-Oh! Would want to pick up a mat, and they would also want to pick up a field center. A field center will be something we will pick up. I have got some in mind. They're not a necessity because you can play anything with them, but I wouldn't mind having one. So let's just grab the tab here. Always the way, you can never grab the tab. So there we go, let's just put that to one side. So you do get your beginner's guide as well, which is quite handy even for me. I haven't played since the Xyz. Well, I played near the beginning of the Xyz era and then stopped for some time. So I am very unsure about pendulum summoning and link summoning. Oh wow, we've already got a nick on one of our cards. That's lovely. So first things first, what do we have in the deck? In one copy of the deck we have Endymion the Mighty Master of Magic. This is our kind of our boss monster. We have Reflection of Endymion, a pretty decent scale 2. Spell Power Mastery, our search engine card. Let's just search for any Endymion card, or Spell Power Mastery and Spell Power Grasp are affected. Dwemer Path, this is our card to fetch back a effect spellcaster from our graveyard, if they go into the graveyard. Our Link monster, Daybreaker the Shining Magic Warrior. Now, this is the only Link monster in the entire deck. So, for now, we are kind of limited on our Link monsters with only Daybreaker. Eventually, we will get more Link monsters. So, what else we got? We got Magister of Endymion, Servant of Endymion, Endymion the Master Magician, the original Endymion. Crusader of Endymion. Defender the Magical Knight. Mythical Beast Cerberus, one of the really cool cards. And an option for the deck is to go into Mythical Beasts. So we do have two. We have Cerberus and Medusa. Magical Something. Magical Exemplar. Magical Abductor. Disenchanter. Apprentice Magician. Dark Magician of Chaos, a really cool reprint and might end up being in the deck, I'm unsure yet. Fairy Tale Luna. Summoner Monk, another really cool card I do like. Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, one of my personal favourite cards. I love playing Spellbooks in Duel Links, so I'm really cool to see that this card's in here. Magical Undertaker. Magician of Fate, I'm actually surprised to see, because last time I played, this was on the ban list, so see a return is kind of interesting. Droll Lockbird, I've heard this is really powerful. And because I've already done a little bit of playtesting, I'm trying to see if I can get the recordings for, like, first episode. Let's get rid of that. Droll Lockbird's really powerful, and I'm tempted to see what we go with this. To either play 3 main or put them into sideboard. Endymion's Lab, Magical City of Endymion, Spellcard Grasp. 2 of those, okay, so that's one of our 2 ofs. Arcane Barrier, Spellbook Secrets, Power, and Wisdom. We've only just got this in Duel Links, so that's pretty cool. Magical Blast, Magical Dimension, Terraforming, Left Arm Offering, Pot of Desires. I've heard this is a really powerful card, so this is kind of why we want to buy 3. Mythical Bestiamorph, Pitch Black Power Stone, Extra Buck, Gaga Shield, and a Magician Circle. So all the decks will be exactly the same from that one. So next thing to do will be to build our deck. So here is our deck. Again, we are only using 3 structure deck, so we're kind of limited on our extra deck and what we can run. So we are running 3 copies of Endymion, the Mighty Master of Magic. This is our spell trap card to gate. It's our boss monster. It can also special summon itself and destroy cards from Pendulum Zone. So all in all, this card is our boss monster, a staple at 3. This won't change in the deck for the foreseeable future. We will be looking at changing a few of these cards, and the first one probably will be Endymion the Master Magician. The original Endymion, he can be special summoned from the field spell, which we are running, you'll see later on. It also does have a monster destruction effect when you discard a spell card, so he does have some use right now, but he is kind of just a filler monster until we can work which way we want to go with the deck. Either do we want to play Mythical Beast or do we want to play something else. Next up, we have Reflection of Endymion. This card is kind of interesting. It's our Scale 2 kind of spare card, but it allows us to bounce a card and one of our spell counter cards back on special summon, so it does give us something in regards to control on the enemy's board. It's not great, but it is better than nothing. Next up, Abductor, or Magical Abductor for the full name. Our staple 3 of Scale 3 Pendulum Monster. Allows us to find cards, Pendulum Monsters from deck to hand. Stunning card. And a really good replacement for the Limit, which happened on our next card, which is Servant of Endymion. Servant of Endymion is absolutely insane. Allows us to special summon a pendulum from deck if it has 3 spell counters and itself. For that reason why it was limited to 1. So we are running 1. We are always going to run 1. Hopefully it goes up to 2. Next up we have Magister of Endymion, our scale 8. Kind of similar in effect to Servant. It allows us to special summon from our extra deck face up, so we can recover pendulums instead of pendulum summoning, and our mainstay scale 8. Next up is the start of our Mythical Beast. It's here because we're kind of just testing it out. I don't think it's going to be great, but who knows, it could be okay. Next up, Mythical Beast Medusa. Has a Monster Reborn effect built into it if it's the only pendulum, which is kind of why I want to run 3 of it. The other part of it being able to half attack, it's okay. I mean, I'm not going to complain against it, so it's another card for later plays down the line. And we might go into the Mythical Beast stuff. Spellbook Magician of Prophecy here because we're running a Spellbook engine. It came in the structure deck. Let's just get a Spellbook card. Always nice. Add spell counters. Is the major reason why. And our only hand trap for the entire deck is Droll and Lockbird. I'm tempted to run more, but right now 1 of is perfectly fine as we're starting off with the deck. I don't know what we're going to see that it wants to search. Next on to spells. If I could sort myself out. There we go. Spell Power Mastery. Spell Power Mastery allows us to search for an Endymion card and then add spell counters onto anything that can have a spell counter. Mainstay of 3 lets us filter our deck to get what the Endymion monsters we want. Also adding spell counters, so good for both sides. Next up, 2 Endymion's Lab. Really good right now for us because it's another card that gives us access to spell counters. The other effect doesn't really come up most often. It's just an option to get spell counters to do effects. Next up, we're running, as I said, 1 copy of the Magical Citadel of Endymion, just because it's another recycle point for spell counters, and we're also running, of course, Terraforming at 1, because we can't run any more. Just search for it, just in case we need it. Next up in our list, we have 3 copies of Spellbook Secrets. It's a searcher for spellbook cards, which includes Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. It means that we can kind of narrow down what we want. We have 3 copies of Wisdom, because it then is a quick play spell to stop either spell cards from activating against one of our spellcasters or traps. More likely it's going to be spells. And 2 copies of Power, so we can get that extra 1k boost against something if it's too big. So, next up we have 3 Pot of Desires. One of the main reasons why I want to pick up 3 copies of this structure deck, because Desires is such a good card, draw 2. And finally, 2 copies of Dwimmered Path. Dwimmered Path is an amazing card to recover any of our effect spellcasters. So if we do any effects for destruction, we can recover it with Dwimmered Path. Gets us spell counters, and we go from there. Extra decks is pretty simple. It's 3 copies of Daybreaker. I don't really need to show you that. That's all we've really got. But what we'll do is we'll hop into some demo games on EDO Pro and go from there. Alright, so we're into our first game here, which is against Lakeshore and Shaddolls. It is an AI, so do bear that in mind. But we get the first turn here. So we start off with Endymion's Lab and the Citadel to start getting spell counters on. Grasping for Servant, because why wouldn't you want to grasp for Servant? To then use Servant on board to activate its effect. After getting Blue Boy, or getting Magician, just in searching for Wisdom, just so we got that back row support, and activating Servant to special summon Endymion, and then bringing out the Daybreaker. So now we've actually got 2 relatively good monsters on board, one that can destroy cards, one that can stop a spell or a trap card. So we let the Allure go through, we let the Foolish go through, because obviously Shaddolls use fusion effects, so we want to wait for that one to happen. Or any cards that can stop them from anything. So I stopped the double evolution peel here to stop them from special summoning any dino. And that kind of calls their turn off, just because of the Endymion effect. So Falco goes off though to special summon itself, and it goes over to us again. So we grab the Abductor, we replay Endymion's Labs to start the counters up again. And we then activate Endymion's Abductor, make him Magister. This was a misplay here, because I thought I could then summon Servant. I was miscounting my scale, thinking I was scale 2, not scale 3, so I couldn't summon Servant back. Out comes the Fusion. Again, negated. Not going to let a Shadow Fusion go through at all. And then we'll play Dwimmered Path, which has got a different name on this because it's using the OCG name, to play Magician, to then do the cycle again of Spellbook Secrets, grabbing Power. We then activate Abductor to grab ourselves another Abductor, to Pendulum Summon to increase the power of Daybreaker, because whenever it's special summons. Power on Endymion, so we've got an insane board, and that is game. So here is game 2 against an AI. This is against an AI for Dark Magician, because I thought I want to try against like the Grand Magician brand. It's just kind of showing off what Cerberus could do, so it's showing kind of the other side of the deck. So we don't have much, we just play Cerberus with a Spellbook of Secrets just to increase its power and hope for the best. Now this is where I misplayed. I should have Droll and Lockbird on the circle instead of on the secrets to stop them having one more search, but I completely misread what Droll and Lockbird did, so that was bad on me. So here comes Bridge of the Prophecy to then start doing our plays with spellbooks, grabbing the power to increase Magician to be over there Magician, and grabbing ourselves a Wisdom, so that's our third Wisdom. And there we go, we'll just be over. Link summoning into Daybreaker because it's a better monster to have. Playing Medusa to then essentially Monster Reborn our Cerberus. And so we're left with a pretty decent board state once again. Apparently just glass spells, and that's about as far as they can go. Again, they're kind of stuck right now because we've halted their plays. Desirous comes down for a spell counter once more. Double Abductor, not the greatest of draws, but still pretty solid. To then go into a pretty beefy board state, just using the -2 of Daybreaker to get rid of those cards and take it for another game there. So I thought I'd do some final thoughts here on our deck's performance. So while we only saw 2 games today, we did do a few more, and a lot of them where we did lose. Those 2 were very much like where the deck could perform the best. And I wasn't intending to do that, that's just how it happened when it came to the fresh recordings. Overall, I feel that the deck has got good potential. The issue is going to be finding the best line for us to getting more out of it initially. I feel one of the best ways of doing that would probably be going into Legendary Duelist Magical Hero. There are 2 reprints in there specifically I'm going for, which is Chronograph Sorcerer and Time Gazer Magician. 2 pretty solid scale 8s that can kind of destroy themselves, find themselves, and also stop traps, just in case traps are a problem. The other thing as well, and we're going to do this as a sealed version of it, is we're going to see if we can try and get our hands on the elusive Magician Souls. If we grab hold of Magician Souls from that, then this deck becomes incredible. At level 1 that lets us draw up to 2 cards, can special summon itself for a link summon. It's fantastic, just all across the board. But that is a very, very slim chance of happening. It is the most expensive ultra rare from the set, which is why I would have to buy a sealed product for it. And it's also pretty hard to find from what I've heard. Ultra rares aren't exactly guaranteed in that set. And we have as much likelihood of finding one of the other ultra rares as we do of finding Magician Souls. And this is where you get the dangerous sealed product. But we can live in hope, and I will catch you guys on the next episode where we will find out what our pulls are.